Jocelyn. I think. Okay. Oh, hi. So great seeing you.
Likewise.
I'm so super duper excited. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great. I have what? Your hair looks amazing.
Oh, thank
Where did
you.
you get so much from?
My mom.
I love it. I love it. This is amazing. Are you ready?
Yes. Give me 1 second. Let me grab my.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Hi. Okay. Did you get? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay. Did you get a chance to take a quick peek at the file that I sent you?
I did. It was so cool, and it was so much longer than I thought it would be. Like it was very informative and thorough. I liked it.
Okay. I'm glad. I'm really glad. Yes, it really is. I feel like it's really a huge file that you can basically come back at any period of your life, and reading it through again will be definitely unveiling some additional information, something that you did not see before. And it works with everybody. And from
Mhm.
experience, I can tell you for sure that whatever we'll be talking about, I know you're already into very much self-discovery with different methods. So I'm sure you're already very much familiar with yourself. But still, all of this will be slowly uncovering within the next year for sure. So it's not like one day you wake up and you're like, okay, I know everything.
Right. You know how easy that would be?
Oh,
I
oh my
wish.
God, I wish. I wish. That would be so amazing. So, we are going to go through a little bit about your portrait just in general,
Mhm.
and then you'll mention your request again, and then we'll go into depth for that.
Okay.
So, your lead-in position, your lead-in energy, it's basically what you were born with, and these are like your basic settings. Something that will be with you your entire life. Something that will never go away. Like even if you're 40, and I know we are looking at this. I'll tell you a little more about it. There's three different positions. So one basically shows your lead-in energy for the rest of your life, and then second, but it's also mostly considered to be like partially for a very little, for like your first 10 years or something. Well, actually close to 20. And then the second one hits when you get closer to 20. And then the third one would be when you're closer to 35, 40. But things are changing so rapidly now that I'm seeing it a lot that this time frames really shifted to a bit earlier.
Mm.
So, um, we talked about it a little before when in stickers, like in questions and those audio messages. But your lead-in energy is the Empress,
Mm.
and I don't know about you, but I get, I literally get goosebumps every time I talk about it because it's just you're a lucky woman. What I can say, you're a lucky
I
one to
feel
have
it.
such an energy, especially in your leading position. So because it is an amazing one for sure to have for women because it basically combines all aspects of feminine roles. So you can be an amazing businesswoman, you can be an amazing mom, you can be an amazing wife, amazing daughter. Everything that has to deal with feminine roles, you'll succeed in them. And this position is given basically as a gift to you. So um it's usually a very positive thing to happen, because you'll see later that there's some challenges that like in your life lessons that you need to go through and then you
Mm-hmm.
need to learn. So that's a different thing. But this one is usually given to you in a positive sign. So what's really important for empresses? For empresses, it's extremely important to make sure that you know what you want, because
Mm-hmm.
it's such a woman that can literally create anything, anything, whatever you visualize, whatever you have a good idea of what exactly you'd like to have in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to know it. Just imagine, like, have a very thorough picture of how exactly you want it to be done, and then I'll promise you it will happen. Empress is such an energy that basically comes along with success in any field, wherever you go. But even even choosing the partner, like, even they have incredible sense of potential and success in their partners. That 100%. But of course, if we're talking about empresses lived in a positive way, because
Mm-hmm.
when you like drama, of course you don't want to go that way.
Right.
Yeah. But for empresses, is also very, the family is something very important always.
Mm-hmm.
And creating literally anything, creating projects, creating babies, and letting them go too. So, because I know empresses tend to keep them, and separation is a really hard topic for most of empresses, especially if in different position,
Mm-hmm.
um, like in challenges or lessons, and somewhere there. But in your case, it's it's good. It's good. It's good, especially with sons. Because Empress, well, guess what? The only one, right? And you can be the only one woman. It can be more than that. So um, don't forget that you basically, not that you need, but by creating something, you definitely fulfill your purpose, your main energy. So I'll talk a little more about your like life purpose, but let's not forget that this energy is with you through your entire life. um Here I'm just going to give a little overview, because a lot of information is in the file, and here we'll be just going through mostly the connections and how things are um, making things together.
Okay.
So when we move to the next thing, you have the energy of Hermit there, and it's the one that shows the
I
when
see
I
it.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
When I looked at your portrait at first time, I was like, oh, okay, okay, I see where it goes. So
Mm-hmm.
this is the second one that we were talking about. It's mostly active during your second period of life, so like around 20 to 30 something. And these are your life
So now,
lessons. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. And that's something that you basically did not have success, unfortunately, passing in your previous life, and that's something
mm,
you have to learn now. Well, it's again, it's up to you whether you
I
whether
would
you decide
hope.
yes, yes, whether we'd like there to go there or no. But yeah, this position also shows us how our parents influence us, because because when we are coming here, when we are choosing the place and the family to come to, we of course rely on the
Oh, oh,
here.
okay, I hear you
It's
now.
yeah. Instagram decided to remind me that it's the limit for me for the day. No. I So because when we choose the family, we of course rely on the mission based basically that we on the lessons that we need to acquire while coming here to this world. So of course we're choosing the parents that will help us too. And since our parents are the first people that we see, and the major people in our lives, of course, then of course they will play the huge role in it. So having the energy of hermit, there's a few scenarios here. So one, it can certainly give you, so usually this position with such an energy shows that you were, um, the parents had some other things to do, and maybe your grandparents were participating more in your life than your parents. And that could, of course, be the reason. That could be, of course, caused by various reasons. Like they needed to work, they needed to provide for family, they had rapidly changing partners, for example, like traveling, anything. So this position shows us this, and that your grandparents played a pretty important role as well too in your life. And that could give you, I'm looking at your portrait here, I have it written down. Like I can forget that you have hermit here. I just said about it 300 times, but you know. So that tells me that that could easily add to some sense of feeling, I don't want to use the word abandoned, but like kind of left and maybe not needed as much.
Mm-hmm.
And that could drag through your entire life. And usually hermits really suffer from, because hermits are, I really want to say, the wisest people ever, because the depth is the second name of the hermits. They really have incredible intuition. They have incredible knowledge that they've been collecting through their life, through others' lives, through previous lives, and everything. They literally been collecting all of this, and they have a very, very, very deep knowledge of everything. Hermit is the person that you can come to. So I'm pretty sure you've heard it from your friends. They can be sharing some words with you, and you say just one phrase, and they're like, "How?
Mm-hmm.
How?" It's just one phrase. You don't speak much. But it's that just one thing that you have the super ability to see, and you see through the layers of everything, of every single person, and you have that very, very, very deep knowledge. So because of all of this um weight, I want to say, it's really hard. One of the important things for hermits is to share this knowledge with other people. So not to leave it with yourself, because you need space. Think of it as you're cooking in a pot. You're not gonna cook in a pot that's already full of food, right? You're gonna empty it first and then fill it with something else. So kind of same thing. And because you guys have an incredible talent to see things very deeply and know exactly why it caused, like what caused it. So being able to share this, if you study something like herbs, I'm pretty sure it wasn't just one book that you randomly read. I'm pretty sure you read 5 books. I'm pretty sure you watched 300 videos on YouTube. You took 500 additional classes. So once you learn something, you really go in depth. And not everybody has such a talent, because it's a lot of work. But once you is it
It's a
I
good thought.
I like that. I like that. Thank you for support. Thank you for support, Instagram. Oh, that's so funny. Um, what was it saying? That not everybody is capable of that, because usually it's like, oh, I know a little bit of here, a little bit of there, a little bit of there, but like I have no. When you guys learn something, when you have a interest in learning something, you will know everything about this topic, literally everything. And this is why it's so important to share it further, because you already process it. But then
Mhm.
another thing for hermits is that you guys need to also pass it through your experience. So not only, oh, I read this here, you have to experience it, and you're not going to tell anyone until you experience it yourself. You even won't want to, because oh I don't know, yeah, I read about it, but I don't know how it works in reality. So like, why would I trust that source? So for hermits
Mhm.
in this position, it can be really challenging to share, because there's usually two things that can happen. One is I don't know enough, I won't be understood, and people will leave me. Like I won't feel needed if I come, because it still goes through you. Like you, every time you would feel the need, the urge to share something, you would feel like, oh, I'm gonna keep it to myself. Like they're gonna think I'm a cuckoo, and no thanks. Or there's another side where they think, that's for everybody who's born in September, by the way, or on the 9th, 9th or 31st. So that's the other side would be like, oh, these people are so dumb. Like, I'm so smart. I'm so smart and I know everything. And you guys are so dumb. But so you won't understand what I'll be saying. So I'm gonna write a poem, but I'll leave it in my drawer here so nobody could see it, because you won't understand anything. Like, why bother? So that's another side to it. So of course we don't want any of the edges. We wanted to keep in between.
That
So we
makes a lot
really
of
want
sense.
to share the knowledge. But behind pretty much everything, like hermits can have really different relationship with other people, because if you remember Matthew Perry,
Hmm.
he has such an energy also, and he was the one who left Julia Roberts, because though they had a really good relationship, he was the one who left her because he didn't feel it was real. So he left. He decided to leave her first because he didn't deserve it, and he was always afraid that she's going to leave him. So he decided to go first instead of leaving in such a fear. So the fear of leaving, of being left, like being abandoned, is really hiding many of the things that can be blocking you. And what was, oh, and also, but you can also work the same thing different way in a relationship, for example, no matter what, but they'll stick in relationship, like even if it's abusive, or like even if it's something not healthy going on in a relationship, they'd still want to stay in, because the the fear of staying alone again is crazy. It's unacceptable. So they don't want to go through this again, and they will do anything. They will tolerate anything towards them. So this is about hermits, and like I said, there's in the file that I sent you, like there's a pretty big list of things that could help you. But at least right now, there's an understanding of what is the root cause of things that could happen. So don't be afraid to share your knowledge with others, please. You have a lot to say, and I know that for sure. You
Yeah.
certainly do. I know that. I know that when you first had that webinar on fertility awareness method, I was
Hmm.
like, yeah, you go, Jocelyn, because it's amazing. Yeah, so keep it up. Don't leave it. Don't put it in your drawer. We'll understand.
Yes, that's a great way to
We'll
put it.
understand. Yeah, we'll understand. So the next position shows us the third period of life, and that's basically something that we're getting closer once we approach our mission, and that's gonna last us basically for the rest of it. But again, it's not like the first two will go away. It's just you'll have more, you'll notice it more, like you'll feel it more,
Hmm.
but you'll still have the other two pieces of you will never go away. It's still you. It's still a part of you. So on that position, you have the energy of the world. And this is why I've been saying, no, this is one of the reasons I've been saying that you have incredible, incredible, incredible potential, because this position on such, this energy on such position really shows us that uh, like you basically have a potential to become a world famous person. You, I'm serious. Like it's something that usually goes not nationwide but international.
Oh wow.
So and internet is a good helper here to you too, because you have the ability to touch more people with this. And these are very open people, very open-minded, very open to anything, any cultures, religions, like literally anything. But on the other side, if we look at the negative side, these are the worst boundary violators because they don't feel anything. Because
Mhm.
literally, there is no borders. They're the person of the world. There is no borders, and they violate others, and they don't feel their boundaries as well. So that's something to keep in mind. That your boundaries is number one thing that that you need now and will need later even more. What else? Another thing to the world energy is trying not to be, if you hear the person saying, "Oh, the world is such a dangerous place," or "No, I'm not gonna do that." No, like if you hear them saying no to anything, they most likely have this energy in the portrait, because they're just so close-minded that they don't see anything. They don't see opportunities. They don't see the people. The world is a dangerous place to them. And guess what? The universe will find the ways to prove it. That for sure.
Mhm.
So, um, one of the important things here is to stay open-minded and to make sure you are free of any limiting beliefs. And I made a reel the other day for people born on 21st and 22nd. So that goes there too, because the main limitations are made in our heads for these energies. It's like, so if you start thinking that it's dangerous, that you can, that it's not safe, that you won't be able to, unlike other people. So like anything you can come up with, this would go, this would be layered really quickly in your head, and that would definitely be something that won't help you much to move further. um so when we look next, the next one would be the position that shows your fears and blockages that you
Mhm.
started having based on the parents influence from hermit. So and here you have the handman. And what do you feel when you hear this?
I think it's interesting because I feel like, especially for me, when I think of the hanged man, I think of the the need to change your perspective, the need to look at something differently,
Mm-hmm.
to like everything is there. You know what's there, it's fine. You just have to come at it from a different perspective. So to
Mm-hmm.
see it as like a fear is really interesting for me because it's almost like you know that it's really not that bad, but you have to look at it from a more positive light to be able to really internalize that it's not something to be afraid of or to allow to limit you, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's exactly what it is. It also shows in this position, when this energy comes in this position, it also shows that you have the tendency to be um, destabilized emotionally easier than someone
Mhm.
else. And that's something to keep in mind, because when you do, both your hermit and your hangman, they're like, oh no, I'd rather stay here inside myself. I'm not gonna go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's what's happening. So, and, and it's interesting because you have both of them, and they both would definitely go back in their shell and hide from
Mm-hmm.
others because it's who knows what's gonna happen next. So it's definitely safer to stay here. And because of that, because it's also really, really hard for such people to accept the reality with its own pros and cons, and it's harder, and because they're just so sensitive, so intuitive, and like you feel, I want to say at least 10 times more than a regular person. Like you see things that other people don't. Like you feel them. You're very, very, very. I think we can easily speak of highly sensitive people.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of this.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and because you feel it more than everybody, of course you feel the pain. You feel not only your pain. This is the problem because the handmen are really designed, I want to say, to do more for others rather than for themselves. And they're sometimes so good at it that they can feel others and not themselves. Like
Mm-hmm.
you could be the person who your friend can come to at 2 in the morning and just like vent and share their worries, and you'll be okay with that because you need to listen. But what you also need to do is not only listen to them, but also listen to yourselves. Like what is that you were feeling worried about? What is that you were feeling right now? Like what are you going through now? Just take a step back and look at that. And because you feel so much more than other people, it's harder because like all of the crazy things that are happening around the world, um they can give you physical pain.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can certainly destabilize you emotionally, and because of that, many handmen are getting into some kind of addictions because it's just a way to leave their reality,
Yep.
because it's just so much that I cannot handle it, so I'm just gonna drop it, and I'll just go like take a glass of whiskey or something that will help me. That will help me, and it does, but it's just it's a matter of learning like other ways, because you're still a part of this reality.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you are very sensitive. I have this energy too in my portrait, and it's fun. It's fun. It's fun. um but I have it in a bit different one. I have it not in fears. I have it in psychological comfort. So for me, like
Mm-hmm.
I know that, for example, practicing yoga really helps my emotional state. Like this is why for me it's a must do. I'm like, I'm not doing it for physical activity. I'm doing it for my
For my
for staying
brain.
sane. Yes, to stay insane. And it also gives you a great sense of actually looking into yourself, because you have a full hour where you're just focusing on your movements and your breathing and everything. So that also helps. And oh, actually, by the way, speaking of that, of the types of activity, um, aerial yoga, where you are
Mm-hmm.
hand upside
Mm-hmm.
down, is incredible for the handman, because it again just kind of pushes things the way they're supposed to.
That makes sense.
And also Pilates and yoga would also be really, really great. And by the way, what's interesting is that for both hermit and the handman, you have like active sport is not such a thing. Like something slow, like meditations, like something slower would definitely be a good. Um, so this is what, oh, and also the handman on this position can also live in a constant feeling of being ashamed and being guilty too. So like no matter what you do, you just always feel ashamed. And um okay, I feel like I'm already there, but I'm here just making assumptions based on what I see. So for example, when you were born as a gorgeous empress with desire to live an excellent life, luxury life for sure. Some tent won't work. Like it has to be a three-story house with the latest inventions and helping people and everything. Like it has to be that way. And then you have the hermit, which is mostly about spirituality, and it tells you, so here's a conflict between the um, material things and spiritual things, and then your hermit tells, oh, why? Like, why do you need all of this? Like, this shame on you for wanting all of this, for wanting to wear expensive like brands, for example, for you to wanting to have high quality clothes. Like, no, it'll be okay. Like, just put it whatever, and stay where you are. So, and that could totally go to the handman where he's just feeling ashamed for his wants, for his desires, and same thing like about since the Empress is very creative, like you could have a desire to draw something, I don't know, like you really loved it, but it was not accepted, like not really with the Hermit on this, but something you really wanted to was not approved, and it basically led you to feeling ashamed for what you want. And then you'll see it later because it also goes back. Well, once we're already here, there's another position that shows your hidden talents, and that is such an energy that could really boost your entire portrait, like make it make it all to go to the positive side. And you have this position also hides a really, really, really huge resource for you. And you have the energy of devil here, which is incredible because I know many people are afraid of it, but it's
Yeah.
really not. Yeah,
No, no.
it's really,
It's always
it's
so
really,
funny to hear though.
I
Like this
know,
is your secret to unlocking everything. The devil.
I know. I know. I know. Where your dog is? What do you call them? Dalmatines? What do you call them?
Dalmatian?
The Cruella de Vil? Yeah, thank
Dalmatian.
you.
Yes, yes.
Dalmatian, thank you. So funny. But yes, and you see, it also goes very well along with the handman. Basically, the opposite way. It kind of adds a little like drop here, dum 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 dum. And because the devil is not as scary as people think about it, it's really about desire, it's about pleasure in everything. And the life, the food, the relationship, the clothes, your work, your business, like literally everything. The devils are here to stop worrying what others are thinking about them. Thank you so much for the hearts. Oh, I love it. They're really here um, to remind everybody about their dark sides. Like you want it and you can have it. And of course, we're talking about it from a positive side because when devils are fallen into negative side, this is actually you can see that many criminals would have this because they would want money, but not in healthy ways. Like Bonnie and Clyde, they actually had it. That they both had it, yeah, and they found ways to to have good amounts of money that were I don't even want to say earned.
Right. Or puking. Okay.
In a very, very, very wrong way, in a very unhealthy way.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's another edge of it, right? So when we are looking back at it's okay to want more. It's okay to want, like, if you want to have a golden toilet in your bathroom, oh, please do. Who cares what others will think? It's not going to bother them. You're not stealing it from anyone.
Mm-hmm.
You do whatever you want to. Like, you should not be worrying about what others think you. And it's usually people with such an energy are usually very, very much ashamed of, like, oh, you want to be rich and you don't want to work for that? Like, how dare you? So
Mm-hmm.
something like that. And the hangman totally adds a little bit of shame to that. And what's interesting about the devils is that you're basically an X-ray to the people. Like, you can be that, given the hermit that you have on your second position, you can be that person who sees people through and sees their darkest side. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if I am here telling you that, oh, I'm the best person ever, I'm doing this, that, like, for example, you're hiring a nanny and she's very sweet, she has amazing recommendations, she has 10 years experience of work, but you look at her and you're seeing that something is wrong with you. And then 3 days later you see her in the news committing some crime. So it's that thing that not a negative thing from a person would hide from you. Like, you feel it, you can see it very well. And sometimes you could be asking, your friends may get annoyed with that, but you may be asking them questions that they would never ask themselves because you see them very well through, and the hermit totally adds to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because first, you're basically a scanner, and second, you see even deeper given that energy. So you're like twice scarier to them. But also, it's very much needed because by
Mm-hmm.
asking these questions, you're able to find you're able to walk around things that they're trying to hide. And like, and I'm not talking about friends. Like, if you were a therapist, if you were helping people to, like, find their fears, you'd be amazing at it.
Yeah,
Because
I've
in the
always said that.
and exactly, because you have like one, two, three, four, five. You have five positions showing that. five five energies in your portrait that show that. So something, something to think about. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, not necessarily therapist, but
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
who, yeah, someone who is able to help. And your desire to learn more about theta healing and practicing it also goes that same way. And I'm confident that after your sessions, people are very much impressed, and that they're certainly feeling that everything was found. Um, so for the devils, it's just important to make sure that you allow yourself to want more, and don't care about other people's opinions. So if you ever feel being ashamed, or if you ever hear someone telling you that, oh, why would you? And you may hear it very often because you have hermit, like I said, in the second position, that would always show you the conflict between the spiritual. Oh,
I think there's
ah,
there we go. It just sees your thumb like really small, does it?
all right, I
And it's
love that.
cute.
All right, I love that. But I don't see my tongue. That's weird because I mean I'm cut in half, so
Mm-hmm.
it's just so funny. Do you see more than I do? um, but going back to this, it will most likely often will be the conflict between material life and the spiritual life. Especially the hermit. Oh my God, that energy. Like, you could feel ashamed for taking money for your services. You could feel ashamed because, oh no, well, I didn't do anything. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
just something typical, something normal. I just did what. Why would I take money for this? We were just talking, and something like that. So Don't let that happen. We live in material world and we're not gonna go anywhere. Like we still need to have it. There's nothing to be ashamed of. And especially for devil, like they want money and they can make big money. And the empress too, like it's important for them. So why not why not accept what you are here for?
Right.
Right. So that's about devil, and we'll move back to the higher a little bit in your portrait, to the position that shows a few things. One is your values and what you are bringing to the world. Second, um, what other people, what you are trying to show to the world, what you're trying to bring. And it could also be the mask that you want others to see you as, for
Mm.
example. So when these actually, the position is also a helper for your life purpose. So that's always nice to have. And here you have the energy of justice. And I know everybody's talking a lot about this year, how justice pretty much equals karma. And kind of in a way, but mostly because both mean the cause effect relationship. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just important to understand that every movement and every word, every action will have a consequence after that. And of course, it's up to you what type of thing you will lead it to. And so people with the energy of justice are incredible because so it's interesting, but this position actually precedes this energy precedes the hermit. So basically, hermit learned all the effect cause scenarios and is ready to take it next to the next level to the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay, I know what I need to do, and here it is. So these are the people. This certainly adds to your incredible things of right and wrong, of how everything done before would be a consequence now, of every movement having a consequence at this time. And these are the people who, by the way, should never break the law because they would be the first to be found. And yes, I've seen it a lot. It's actually very interesting, but um, I'm noticing many, like the last 2 years, I'm seeing a lot of the Russian bloggers, like who would be making huge amounts of money, but they all have been punished in the last 2 years. So many of them, so many of them, for not paying taxes in a proper way, or like something like that. And whoever portrait I was looking at, they all have this energy. So like it's
Interesting.
impossible. It's impossible. Like you can think, not you, I mean in general, you can think that you can be this smarty pants and you can basically lie to the system, but no, the universe laws that matter the most will definitely remind you of that. So it's not something that we can hide, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately. No, of course we're not going to do anything crazy, but I'm just saying that it's noticed. It goes
Mm-hmm.
to the record right there, right there, right away. And these people are very wise too, because they understand how basically the life goes. And what can be on another side to it is these people can be, mm, what's the word I'm looking for? They can think they're better than others and they can come up with their own way of justice, and they can think That's the main rules. Another reason, like going back to the bloggers, right? Because they basically thought it's how it should be, but no, unfortunately it's not. So you gotta pay for it now. And so it's something that like these people should not be judging anyone else, and they really tend to, they really love it, like, oh, I'm so great, oh, look at me, I'm so fine, and look at me, I'm being the best mom ever. Oh, you're not raising your kid correctly. Something like, let me teach you, so something like that. Something of that nature. And it's not only about motherhood, literally everything. So judging anyone is not a good idea for people with such an energy. And then it also, when we are looking at the portrait in terms of thinking to get into the mission of our lives,
Mm-hmm.
is we need to basically pass certain levels. So the first level would be the Empress, the Hermit, in the world. And then the second, there's always a conflict between the Hangman in your case and the Justice. And what can be here is a conflict. So for example, hmm, for example, all your sensitivity that you feel in your life, thanks to Hermit again, going back, you might be afraid to show it, and you may be afraid to show it to other people because how fragile you are. And to other people, you keep a face of a calm, cool person that nothing ever bothers, because the justice also stays in the position that shows your social mask. So you're basically wearing, you could be wearing it to other people, like, no, I'm fine. No, this does not touch me. No, I'm good. And then go back and cry in your pillow because it does. Because it does.
Oh, I laugh all the time. People tell me, you are so calm, you're so graceful. And I'm like, girl, my brain is crazy. What do you mean?
Yeah, because this is exactly what it is. And uh so even understand that everything, you can actually hear it from many people saying, oh, this is so unfair, oh, the life is so unfair, oh, the person is so like, unfair is the key word. Like if you hear
Mm-hmm.
that, that's certainly, if you start saying that, take yourself back a little bit, a couple steps back, reminding yourself that it's here for something. It's not here not to punish you or anyone else. It's here to show you something and highlight you something, to pay attention to things. So instead of why is it happening to me, just shift the focus a little to why is it, why am I given this? What does it show me? Like why,
Mm-hmm.
what does it tell me? So that would definitely help. And again, look, the Handman would certainly help you to flip that perspective. So that's something that it's technically in conflict, these two positions, these two energies, sorry, but they can certainly help each other because they both are. The justice is also where your resource is. So that could definitely help your Handman to push back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because that guy, you see, it's not always that position with fears, it's not always visible, and we not even always know about it because it's very deep in our subconsciouses, and like we don't even realize that we have it. But
Mm-hmm.
even bringing it here and like acknowledging that you have that would already be a huge help.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, am I behaving now because this and that? Like, am I is someone trying to shame me? Is someone trying to make me feel guilty? And what's actually interesting, the justice is also about toxic sense of feeling of being guilt, like because they don't. It's also about themselves, and they also trying to make others feel guilty for something because, oh, you're not following the rules. I'm gonna show you how. I'm gonna teach you now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's not our job. That for sure. The universe will take care of it itself. We don't need to. We don't need to do anything here. So that just understanding, basically understanding that everything is happening with your life around the world, in your family, because something led to it, not because someone, mm, not because you're not lucky, not because why God. It always reminds me. Remember that. Remember that episode in Friends. I'm pretty sure you watched Friends, right?
Um, most of it. I haven't seen it
So
like through every episode, but I've
okay.
seen a lot of it.
There is a scene where Joey celebrates his 30th birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and I just remember it because it just really reminds me of Justice in it's not the best times. He basically holds the his birthday cake. He has like all his friends come in to celebrate with him, and he just yells, Why, God? Why me?" So so it, so it really reminds me of that. Um, so that's definitely something that won't be helping us much. So if you were chosen, then why am I chosen? Right? Um, and so the next position, it's the one that shows how the scenarios around which topic the scenarios in your life are happening. And here you have the energy of judgment. How cool is that? Both and justice and judgment are here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, you have a very, very, very interesting portrait. I certainly, uh, it was very interesting. It was a pleasure to work with it. I loved it.
Oh.
Absolutely loved it. So and that tells me that a lot of your life is happening around your family members, and could be also like some type of system, for example, school or um, college, something like that, something bigger, or a group of specialists, like just some type of system. So all your scenarios are going around this, and they're basically focused on you trying to understand and accept yourself as a part of the system. There's nothing worse to a person with such an energy than feeling left out and feeling not a part of any system. Like feeling um again, going back to Friends, remember maybe how Chandler would always agree to basically anything anyone would say. It was painful for him, the idea of someone leaving him, because he needed to be a part of that social group. He had to be. So that is a great example of such a case. And family is absolutely important in your life, and it takes a huge place for you. And what's also interesting is that people with such energy are here um, to take all the scenarios, all the patterns that you had in your generations, in many of them, I'm saying it on purpose, not just your parents, but many of them, and take the best and rework the negative scenarios.
Mm.
So if you ever feel like, take the energy and the power and resource of it, like, don't turn your back to your family, because if that happens, then something is certainly wrong with such an energy. But taking the best out of it, like traditions, for example, cooking together on Sundays, celebrating Christmas at your grandma's, baking certain pie on certain holidays, sharing your recipes and passing them through to other members of your family, um, collecting your family, like when you become older and your kids have their own families, you'd certainly be the one who collects and gathers everybody for holiday celebration. Like The idea of having a big family and gathering is certainly there. uh, but also rework some negative scenario, and it's really the huge goal for the life, because interestingly, it is both justice and judgment are karmic energies.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically carrying them from somewhere else, and you are basically assigned such a task. And I know it's not easy. I know it's not
Oldest daughter
easy.
problems.
Yeah, yeah, it's certainly not easy, and sometimes. But then here, there could be a lot of scenarios. Think of how amazing and how difficult at the same time work you will be doing, because you basically be cutting these negative scenarios, and you won't be passing them to your children, and they'll have better lives, right,
Mm-hmm.
after that. So given that you also have the energy of devil and the empress, that could be a lot of negative scenarios towards money. Like money is not healthy, only thieves have money, like you can earn lots of it. Like if you have a lot, then something is wrong with you. You can be a good person and have and feeling and be wealthy at the same time. So like I'm suspecting there's a lot of it towards money. So if you have some time, um, I highly recommend to hear what people are talking about and how they're phrasing things.
Mm-hmm.
So that would definitely be helpful. On your side, what you can do if you haven't had any traditions already in your family, for example, it is certainly the time to start, because, like I said, we basically were assigned to this, and I say we because I also have this energy. You know, it is fun to have it. That for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That for sure. It also, what's interesting is that such people could have, oh my God, I lost the word. um the dreams that come true.
Okay.
So if you have dreams, for example, of your relatives, and then like telling you something, and
Yes.
they become true, so you again don't run away from it. It's your superpower. It's basically your family is talking to you, and these are the people who have um, who can pass the energy through the hands. So, like any type of hand feel, like Reiki, for example,
Mm-hmm.
also goes that way. Yeah, like even if you do massage, that would be therapeutic for everyone who you're working on. But then don't forget to recharge yourself after that. 'Cause, like if you do that,
Yes.
you're giving away a lot of energy. That for sure. So don't forget to recharge after that. What else? What else? I wanted to tell you something about the judgment. Um, okay, I'll probably remember. Probably it wasn't needed then to be said. But if I remember, I'll definitely share. So this is the main side of your portrait, and now we're moving on to your life purpose. And here you have the energy of strength, and what does it tell us? It certainly tells us that you are here. When I'm talking about your life purpose, I'm not saying that it's something you need to um, do for living, for example, but I think of it as a way that you decided to. What skill did you decide to acquire while coming here? So for you, it's taking care of your physical body. Um, it's finding the balance between physical body and mental. Again, another side of it. It's growing that strength within you and understanding that you are capable of pretty much anything. And when you feel, we talked a little bit before about it, but if you ever feel like you are Like you don't have energy, you don't have power, you won't be able to handle it. You're too tired to worry about it, to take care of that. Uh, you always do. You always do, and of course, it can work both ways when it gives you the sense of I can do anything and I'm gonna carry your load, your load, your load, and on top of mine. And then, oops, again, forgot about myself. And then
Mm-hmm.
you have nothing left for yourself. So this certainly happens on the strength, for the strength. They really tend to forget about themselves. And what's interesting is since okay, I'm gonna add to it because it's really interesting. But you have here you have the life purpose with the energy of the strength, and then you also have your superpower, your super gift that would help you to achieve the life purpose. And you have on that position you have the energy of chariot, and they both are very similar in a way of um, they're the strongest and the fastest out of everybody. So they both tend to take more on themselves rather than delegating or asking someone else to do. And very often, it leads to a burnout, to a complete burnout, because yes, you are capable of that, but did you really need it? Like, did you use this
Mm-hmm.
energy towards your goals or something else? And then additionally, the handman would always remind you, oh no, no, give everything to others, you don't need anything. Give everything away. And it's not going to work this way, because you have to learn. The chariot will always be asking you, what do you want? What is your goal? Let's go
Mm-hmm.
towards it. And so if the strength is here to build that stamina in itself, and understand your power, then for chariot it's understanding where you're going, and not letting anyone drive their life. Because yes, they can take you, yes, you can take a passenger seat, but will they take you where you want them to?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you gonna go with that? So is that place where you were planning to go to come, or is that somewhere that they will take you and you're just a passenger, just riding a sidecar with them? So both of the world and the tarot in your portrait are saying about traveling. And you can find lots of resource there, especially considering that you have tarot in your superpower position. You can find lots of resource. If we look at it at the type of activity that you want to do for life, that could be anything related to traveling, like travel agency, travel blogger, like anything related to the movement, like anything related to the cars, anything relating to like motorcycles, cars, any type of business there, but anything that has to do with the movement. And what's interesting is actually both of this, your life purpose and your superpower, they both are incredible leaders. So it's really that your opinion matters the most a lot to people. And yes, given hermit, no wonder. And the justice too. Seriously, no wonder. Yeah. Um. So if you ever feel if your hermit again decides to hide away from everybody else, um, just tell him to back up and give and give the power to the chariot. It'll take you where you need it to, as long as you know where you're going.
Mm, I like that.
Yeah. And going back to strength, so physical activity would certainly be helpful here, because when strength is not letting things out in healthier ways, strength may have lots of aggression.
Mm-hmm.
So
anger.
physical, yep. So and it's not. I mean, it's normal, right? Especially given that you are taking away everybody else's responsibilities and you're doing it for them. So no wonder. But physical activity would certainly help with that and kind of
Hmm.
like straighten that line along. And what else did I want to tell you? When we are looking, I think this is really it. And I think now we can go back to your request, which has lots of pieces to it. But you were asking about money and
Yeah.
how to deal with it. But could you add a little more to it? What exactly do you want to be achieved with that?
I feel like through what you were sharing, it actually touched a lot on it about maybe the shame aspect or the guilt, because I feel like when I do feel like I'm in flow, like with myself, things are very easy and things do come to me without any effort. But then there are definitely times where it just feels like, why do I keep standing in my own way? What am I doing that's not letting myself, I think, be expansive and be open and willing to receive and trust, I guess, that
Mhm.
that's what I deserve. And when you were talking about, like, the shame and that part of it, like, it made so much sense about how sometimes we don't realize that we are not letting ourselves,
Mhm.
because we feel like, oh, I shouldn't, like, that's too much. Maybe I don't deserve that. Maybe I shouldn't have that. Like, maybe that's too much for me or something.
Yeah.
Uh, and I can definitely see that being something that if you keep telling yourself that, the universe is going to be like, yeah, okay, maybe it
Yeah.
is too much. Maybe you don't
Yeah.
need that.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. No, that's certainly not your case. And you want more. And I even wrote it in your file that the motto for um the motto for devil is I want and I can. And the motto for the empress is I know what I want and I'll get it.
Mm.
So the key here is to know exactly what you want. And then when we are looking at, because like I said, Herman also can be saying a lot that, oh, I actually, that's too much. Like that's, I don't need to be paid for that. That's okay. That's okay. And you can struggle with that a lot. And when we are looking at the triangle that shows us your realization and how you should realize you not should how you could realize yourself and what would be a huge piece to that is so you have here both hermit and then the world and the justice. So it's again about coming out to people, but certainly knowing how you feel inside.
Mm.
Because hermit is always about accepting themselves. They always feel like Empress could add to that as well. That they're not enough, like they don't have enough knowledge, they don't have enough experience, they haven't read 15th book about it, and that's probably too early. And but no, the world and the justice, both of us, and the justice actually can add a fear here of being judged. Like if you come out to people, oh, it was just, it's so funny. But they were just telling us about the fear of being judged. Like, oh no, you don't know much. Like, what if someone's gonna throw rotten potatoes or rotten tomatoes at you? Like, what
Hmm.
if you schedule a webinar where you're sharing some of your things and people are just telling you that no, you don't know enough. What are you talking about? But you shouldn't even worry about that, because this is not the case. We are all here about, and I know exactly I know exactly what I'm talking about. It really took me a while, but it's just crazy because they cannot stop you from there. Like you have, it's also again about the balance between material and spiritual world. Like maybe there is an understanding that spiritual knowledge is not worth, or like everybody knows, or everybody should know it. What's new, I'm gonna say, or um given the world here, you like there are different religions, for example, but you're not a preach, right? You are just, it's the knowledge that should be accessible to everybody. And like when I was taking theta healing classes, it always felt like, it's for some special people only. um but in reality, it's us. We all have that.
Mm-hmm.
We all have such a talent. We all have intuition. It's just a matter of us listening to it or ignoring it. But we always have it. And it's a part of us. We all have a body, we all have a mind, and we all have a soul. There's three pieces to us. It's not like we are coming up with random things and trying to convince other people in our own um, justice, right? In our own system, it's already there. So don't let it stop you from things. But the most important thing here is from that triangle as well, is to really find the answer to what you want to do in yourself, and you know it, and you have it. And just try it, like have a few things and try them on as a suit and see how it makes you feel. Does it make you feel good, amazing, awful? What does it tell you? And I'm sure you'll feel it again. You have the handman here, so it's not like you'll be able to miss it, that for sure. But the most important piece is really understanding what exactly is that something you want. And additionally, the handman, um, in your case, it's in a position that will basically always be in the background, so it's not like we can bring it to 100% positive side, unfortunately. But I like to think of it as a spiral dynamic where it just every layer is less and less and less and less and less. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just, if you start in the beginning with something giant, then in the on top, like with every single layer, it becomes less and less piece to it. But in the beginning, yes, it is a lot. But it's also very cool for the handman to believe in what they want, because they certainly have, thanks to the creativity and great connection with the universe, they certainly have the super gift, I want to say, the superpower of transforming everything into reality. And Walt Disney is a great example, because that guy created a whole imaginary world. He basically brought the fairy tale to real life. And
Mm-hmm.
look how many people enjoy it. And he just thought, why not make it happen? And even as adults, when we get to the Disney World, we feel like kids.
Mm-hmm.
We feel like we're inside a fairy, right? It's like, am I am I now a Cinderella? Am I now a Sleeping Beauty? Like, who am I? Yeah. Oh, I don't hear you. Something happened again. Oh, here, back now.
Yeah, my phone was telling me I reached my limit.
Ah! So annoying. How dare
Right?
it? Yeah. Yeah. So let it be a great example. in front of you of everything literally being possible. And did he succeed the first time? No. No, but he knew exactly how he wanted it to be, and now it's a huge part of industry. It's
Mm-hmm.
the parks. Everybody dreams to go to Disney World. When I was little, we had an opportunity to go to the one in Paris, and it was the event of the whole life because you don't like it. Are you really going to see like all the dwarfs? Are you going to be a Sleeping Beauty? Are you going to try on the Cinderella shoes? Like things like this. And it's
Mm-hmm.
incredible. You're getting into imaginary world. So this is one of the healthy ways to get outside of reality.
Yeah.
But it's harder. Like when you leave when you leave Disney and you're on the way back home and you're like, "Oh, I gotta leave the life
Yeah.
again."
Oh, reality.
Oh yeah, yeah, but it's fun too. It's certainly fun. Um, I think this is it for
Mm-hmm.
me. This was like a like a shortened version since we're doing it in live Instagram, but I'll text you when we finish, so we can go over whatever questions you have left.
Okay.
Okay?
That was awesome.
Do you have any questions now that you'd like to ask?
Um, no, I took lots of really good notes.
Okay.
Because I like to just look back at little things that stuck out to me. Um, but this was awesome. I feel like you gave me so many things to think about and different ways to look at things. And like, like I was saying, connected dots. Things make a
Mm-hmm.
lot of sense. And I'm just like, okay, I can see how I've already known like the bones,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. And now I get to build on it and kind of start to understand things a little bit better. Maybe make things a little bit easier.
I'm getting goosebumps. Thank you.
Mm,
Thank you
always.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you for your kind words. I really love it. And for me, it was an eye opener. Um, because I've shared it with you a lot that I've tried different methods, and for me, it was really an eye opener.
Mm,
Because I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense now. And it's
yes.
interesting because if you ever felt like you should be, mm, like for example, for me, one of my leading energy is the Fool, and it's the person who's really good at multitasking, and the person who, so unlike you, the Hermit, who likes to dig really deep into one thing, I like to learn many at once.
Mm-hmm.
And this explains my curiosity in so many different fields.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always ashamed of that because it feels like if you learn in something, like you have to spend 30 years doing so, like you have to spend another 60 practicing it, like
Mm-hmm.
it's like you have to be really deep in it. But then when I learned about that, I was like, whoa, it's actually my superpower. It's actually something I should be proud of. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can do it very easily.
Mm-hmm.
I can certainly use it in my everyday life. I can certainly do this and that, and I can combine all my knowledge all together. So why still being ashamed of that? Like, but because the common thing is, no, you have to go like to college, study it for 4 years, and then be an intern for another 6, and then only you can do the entry level for another 5, and then but what about life? What about trying new things? What about even trying to find what you like
Mm-hmm.
if you're doing just one thing through your entire life, which, don't get me wrong, can be really amazing for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But for people like me who at 30 years old didn't know what they want to do when they grow up, not 30, but like 28 or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, like you were already an adult, like you have an adult life, but you still don't know what you want to do. There's so many different things, but how would you know without trying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that. So, and for me, it was mm, like I got an approval to be myself.
Yes.
and accept all pieces of me. So, and I'm
Oh, that's
really glad.
beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm really happy that I can do the same to others now.
Hmm.
Yay.
Oh, I love that.
I love that too. Well, then we'll be finishing, I guess, though I
Okay.
really don't want to.
We'll just have to do this more often, just on FaceTime or something.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. I'd love that.
Hmm.
Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for allowing to do this on on one person.
Oh,
But thank you. I really appreciate it.
of
I'll
course.
share
Anytime.
the recording of this when it's done.
Okay,
All right.
good.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye.